Yeah,
I'm excellent today. Hey,
great.
where you come? What's that?
Oh, sorry, I was about to ask you the same question.
Yeah, I'm in
I'm
Kansas
in,
City.
okay, nice. I'm in Croatia right now.
Oh, wow. Very nice. How's Croatia today?
I haven't actually left the apartment, which feels a little sad, but I'm here for a couple months, so just having it pretty much just a normal work day here.
Okay. Okay, cool. Well, we'll get into all of that. We'll peel back the layers of Croatia and your life and your work. And I want to begin
That's a
the
little bit there.
conversation with what we've lived through for the last 3.5 years, living through a pandemic.
Mm,
How did you
yeah.
get through it, and how did it change you?
Wow, my life has changed so much since the beginning of the pandemic. I was actually still a nanny at the beginning. I was nannying part-time and I was working on building my business, my online business, and that was a very slow process, but the pandemic really accelerated it. All of a sudden I had a lot more work opportunities than I had had in the past. So I was able to quit nannying and go full time, and that changed my life radically. And my husband has since quit his job and joined as well. There's such a different approach now to the digital space. So as like an online, like I'm a website traffic consultant. I help people get traffic to their websites. And a lot of people still have that as a back burner thing before 2020. They were like, yeah, I have a website, but I don't know. I don't use it. And then it was like, you need a website today. It needs to be working right now. It
Yeah.
changed a lot.
Well, it's interesting because so did podcasting. I've been doing this since 2011, more specifically in the jazz world, and I had no idea it was going to become hip. It was going to become a thing that would be a Netflix series. It would be the focal point of how we would all go. But I think it's very therapeutic. I think this avenue of us all connecting, in remote places from Kansas City to Croatia, I think it's very good for the human being to understand that we're much more alike than we're not.
Yeah, and podcasting feels so genuine. There's none of this artifice of what they look like and how like nice the lighting is, and oh, their camera looks really cheap. It's kind of grainy. And you think, well, there's all of it's removed. It's just a
Yeah.
person. I don't know. I think it's the most authentic way to connect with other people is audio. Audio only. I think
Yeah.
it's really special.
Well, and I remember before digital became king and queen of our world, it was, there was an old school way where we'd have to sit around for the three networks, four networks for TV to show us people, to hear interviews, and maybe on NPR or some community radio station you would hear an interesting take on something. But now we all are in control and can chart our quality. Because at the end of the day, no one's going to tune in if it's not quality, if it's not good, if it's not captivating. But we have that pulpit to do that, which is very refreshing in this modern era.
Yeah, you said that beautifully.
So it's definitely a good thing. So I want to get to the essence. You kind of mentioned what you do, but I'm gonna break this down a little bit more elementally. So I'm gonna put you in front of a bunch of third graders. It's career day, and one of the little ones looks up and says, "What do you do for a living?" How do you answer that child?
Uh, whenever you type something into Google and then you click through to a website that tells you the answer, I get people on Google. I get people's answer. I connect the answers to the questions.
That is a skill. I used to do that a long time ago. One of my first jobs out of school, I was a desktop publishing person for a home health agency, a consulting firm. And people used to always come to me. They're like, "Can you try to find this for me?" Because there is a wordsmith way to do it. There is a way to arm wrestle Google to get what you want.
Yeah, yeah, it's not all. I don't want to say like yes, it's not all just play. It used to be kind of like, well, say like pizza New York City enough times and it'll show up whenever people Google pizza New York City. And
Yeah.
now it's a lot more nuanced, but there is still a lot of skill, a lot of guide, a lot of explaining. I always tell people it's like about explaining your website page to Google because Google doesn't know. If you write an article on Paris, Google needs to know Paris Hilton, Paris France,
Uh-huh.
Paris, it's an acronym as well. It needs all this other info.
Yeah, it certainly does. So what did you want to be in the third grade? What was your dream to grow up and become?
A professional violinist.
Okay. Do you play violin?
Not anymore. I did from age 7 to 18. I played violin. So I miss music, to be honest. That's kind of a downside of traveling. Like I do, I travel full time and you can't really bring instruments along with you. So that's something I would want to do next time whenever life settles down, I guess I'll say.
You know, the one thing that I find fascinating about the nomadic spirit is how did that become you? Because I feel like there's a level of there's curiosity, but there's also bravery. You have language barriers, you're going into places that you're not aware of. There's just all of these things that are inherent. The payoff's massive. So how did this spirit, this wanderlust, this nomadic kind of idea become who you are? Because that's definitely obviously a part of what you do for a living is you travel a lot. How did that happen?
Happened very gradually. First I grew up and went to college in Pennsylvania, and I think like everyone, I thought where I lived was the most boring place in the world. So I thought I'm gonna go really far away. And I got my first job out of college. I got a job in Seattle. So that's the whole way across the continental US, for anyone who's not familiar with the geography. And that was scary. I was unhappy. I thought I made a mistake, but the contract was only a year. So I thought I can do anything for a year, I guess. And then I went through all the emotions of hating it, feeling, regret, all of these things. And then, you realize that it actually wasn't the thing itself. It was just about all the change. And then I became more comfortable with change. And then after a year, I moved to a new part of the country. I moved to Chicago. I didn't know anyone, new job, new industry. So I changed everything again. And within another year, I thought I'm ready for this again. And I went and started traveling full time. And it is so exhausting, but you have to be ready for it though. Like you have to be, I guess, maybe kind of bored with life in a way. Like you need to be excited about the idea of going into a grocery store and not being able to read the packages. You like pick up something and you're like, is this butter? Is it lard? I have no idea what this is. And then half the time you buy it and you take it home and it's disgusting and you throw it away and you think, I have no idea what that was, but I'm not eating it. You have to be excited about that.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. What's been one place that you went to that was magical or hit you in a specific way for its beauty or charms that you didn't expect?
Guatemala is one of my favorite places. It was so authentic. It felt, yeah, it felt incredibly, I guess, unpolished in a way, kind of untouched. It just, I don't know, the level of like the intensity of the natural surroundings. There's like volcanoes coming up out of the ground, it's just very raw, I would say. And that was kind of to me like what you got whenever you went to a national park, not what you woke up in. So to be in Guatemala I was there for I guess about a month, and to be there every day and you wake up and you look out the window and you see a volcano, it feels like, wow, where am I? Am I living in
Yeah.
Jurassic Park? Like, is a dinosaur gonna run through? It's so captivating.
Yeah. Sounds like it. Who's been a hero for you in your life?
A hero. On a personal level, my family, I feel like my close family, my parents, my sister they've championed everything. They've all been very afraid for my decisions in life. I think I've kept my parents up at night a lot, but they were always supportive, always. Like the initial reaction, no matter what I said, was always support. And that takes a level of dedication. I mean, that's just special to me. I know I wouldn't have done everything I've done in my life if I didn't have a group of people who were terrified saying, but you should do it because that's what you want. I mean, that's a special thing.
Yeah. It's the unconditional love. We all need it for sure, you know. So if you could meet one person alive on this planet and spend some time with them, who would it be?
Gosh. Maybe Malcolm Gladwell.
Yeah.
I just enjoy his writing a lot. It's
Yeah.
not a great. I'm amazed by his ability to take like huge amounts of information and make it really not only like understandable, but really incredibly entertaining.
You know, I just listened to a podcast of him describing what Brian Williams from NBC, remember when he came up with that whole Black Hawk thing and there was discrepancies in his story about how the brain doesn't remember things in the right way and when you're going through trauma how it works, and he broke it all down and it was so good.
Mm,
But I remember Freakonomics from years ago when I read that, and I still to this day reference all of these points that are a part of the fluidity of our economy and how things go up and down and when it starts, how long it takes for the consumer to feel like he broke all of that down. He's such a good storyteller. He's such a good architect of simplifying life, you know?
Have you
So
read Subliminal? I'm forgetting the longer title.
it, I haven't, I don't believe so. And if I did,
Oh
it's,
no, you would remember. It's like creepy level like science for me. I thought about it. I brought it up. I thought about it every day. I think I brought it up in daily conversation for like a month and a half, and people were like, stop saying this. I'm like at the coffee machine at work, and I'm like, none of us have chosen anything. Even the people we marry, and people are like, we can't with you anymore. I
But
think
it's
you would like it.
I'm making a note of it right now. So I'm going to I love listening to audiobooks, and he always does
Mhm.
them, which adds to it because I dig his voice. So
Oh, that's nice.
I'm making a note now. So let me ask you this. What is your motivation every day? Every day you wake up and do your work and become who you are. What is that motivation for you?
Um, I guess it comes down to a quote by Annie Dillard. How we spend our days is how we spend our lives. And that is really haunting to me because I think we've all gone through periods where like weeks or months go by and we don't really feel engaged and we think like, well, it's just a phase. But I know I had to be honest with myself at a point back before I went traveling, whenever I was still kind of like that before phase of wanting to do things in life, but not really taking action. And I wasn't really happy. Like if that had been how I spent my life, I would not have been pleased with that. And I always tell myself how you do this is how you do everything. Like how I approach this like article, I get article assignments. I'm a writer for write for myself, but I also write for HubSpot and GoDaddy. I'll get an article assignment that's really difficult. And I always, that's just my motto. How you do this is how you do everything. So, and I do everything, I try to do everything the same way with like equal intensity and just trying to see things through. I guess the feeling of like wasting time really scares me and really
Yeah.
motivates me.
Yeah, I get that. So, what's been one of the best client responses you've ever gotten for the work you've done?
I got the nicest message. I guess it was about a year ago. Somebody told me that I was the best freelance writer they had ever worked with,
Right
which
on.
was really, I mean, that was really special. And my editor as well. I wrote a book this past year, and my editor told me that it was equal parts inspiring, educational, and uplifting. And I thought, gosh, that's like all I would ever want people to say about me. Like
Yeah.
that it's like fun, it makes you laugh, but also feels like a hug and has some value to it. That's just like put that on my tombstone.
Yeah, for sure. So, what was the first piece of writing that you produced where you were like, I'm good. This is good. I can do this.
Oh gosh, it took years. I started writing for my college newspaper, and I never really felt good at that. And then I started writing for the local newspaper, and I still didn't feel particularly good at that. And had some bad writing experiences as well over the course of maybe I would say 5 years. Did some writing like product descriptions for Jeep headlights, weird stuff that I was not good at. So I mention this because it wasn't like I woke up one day and like started writing for HubSpot. It was like that took 5 years before I got serious about writing. And that's whenever I started my own website. I was writing for myself. And gosh, when did I feel good at it? It took a very long time. Honestly, it might have been the book deal. I was
Yeah.
offered a book deal a year ago, and the publisher reached out to me, and that might have been the first time that I felt kind of I'm not only like doing the work, but I'm doing a good job. Like maybe I'm doing a better job than other people. I'm not sure. Because it's hard to gauge writing because
Yeah.
there's so many different levels, different types, different styles. It's supposed to be different. So nobody ever tells you, that's like a gold and you're the silver and she's the
Yeah.
bronze. So you kind of don't know where you stand. And that's normal. And also it's good to stay hungry, I think. I try
Yeah.
to never feel too good about myself because the second you stop trying to improve, you start going backwards, I think.
Yeah. 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 So, what's the best advice you've ever gotten?
In life,
Yeah.
oh my gosh. My grandfather always used to say, time waits for no one. And
Yeah.
he was not an ambitious man. But as a child, I always took it kind of as like a very, like I've got to live my life. He told me that my whole childhood. And he was much older. I think he was like 80 whenever I was born. So he was kind of not like an involved grandfather, but he in that way. Um, and I don't know why he always said that over and over again. And I think I said I always took that to heart,
Yeah.
trying to don't expect things, don't
Yeah.
expect time. That's a good message.
I agree. I agree. What's been of all the things that you've done and accomplished and overcome in your life, what are you the proudest of?
Mm, um, Oh wow. I'm kind of the proudest of I don't know, my marriage, just having like being really incredibly happy with waking up every day, being so happy to be with my husband, and then we work together all day and we cook dinner and we hang out together in the evening and we go to bed, and it's still, I feel like there's no, I don't know, it feels very like pure. And you don't see a lot of that. You kind of see a lot of, like, if you like watch TV, it's always like people complaining about their spouses, or like, well, what are you going to do? So we're unhappy or whatever, or I don't know. I guess that's, to me, is something that it feels the most, yeah, most pristine thing.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. If we get off the phone and a time machine pulls up in front of your house and you can go anywhere in time and see any human event with your own eyes, where are you going? What do you want to see?
Oh my gosh. Wow. Um, I am not going to have a very inspired answer to this because I can never. Oh, I'm not a history buff at all. I'm trying to think if there's anything that comes to mind. I am completely blanking.
Let's
I
do
guess,
this.
yeah.
Let's do this. We'll reward this.
Okay.
What's the one place that you would love to see on this planet that you haven't seen yet?
Oh, I would really like to travel in the Middle East.
Yeah.
We had a trip planned to Turkey, but the travel advice just changed. And that was weird thing about going into Turkey and then traveling overland farther. But the travel advice changed to not go to Turkey right now. So we canceled that and came to Croatia instead. So it's still very much on my mind.
Yeah. So everyone out there has a perception of you, family, friends, clients, colleagues, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
Um, I I guess I think I'm a bit obsessive, which translates well whenever you're a self-employed because you have to be, no one's watching you and telling you to get your work done. And I think organized, those would be two words that come to mind.
So anyone out there that wants to reach out to you, learn more about you, anything about your world, where's the best place to go?
If anyone wants to reach out, they could email me at Kayla@writingfromnowhere.com. That's my website. You can also read and reach out on my website, writingfromnowhere.com. Or if anyone wants to learn about being a digital nomad, which is what I've been doing for a long time now, you could read my book, How to Be a Digital Nomad, which comes out in January.
Excellent. This has been wonderful. Kayla, thank you so much for your story, for your time. I really appreciate it. Best of luck with everything.
Thanks so much, Joe. Thanks for having me.
You bet. How do you pronounce